When my husband was a little boy, he was taken out of a fireworks show because the noise was just unbearable. And for years afterward, he carried one quiet belief that there was something wrong with him. Today, after 27 years together, he's finally saying it out loud. And if you're a highly sensitive man or you love one, I think this is going to land somewhere very deep. I am going to bring on my lovely husband, Nathaniel Richman, who I have tortured twice before on this channel by asking him to be interviewed about the HSP male experience. He is an HSP like me, highly sensitive person. If you want to watch that one, click here. It's called Highly Sensitive Men, Why They're Different. Also, we talked about love and partnership, about two HSPs being in a long-term relationship. If you want to watch that one, click here. It's called The Pros and Cons of Two Highly Sensitive People in a Relationship. Now, the reason I have him on today is because he has just started his own YouTube channel. Woohoo! Very exciting. It's called Sensitive Men, and you have to check it out. It's amazing. I'm very proud of him, and I wanted him on so that he could talk more about his new channel. And Nathaniel is going to talk to you about highly sensitive men today. Welcome, Nathaniel.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here again.
So, you have identified as a highly sensitive man for many years, but more recently you started the Sensitive Men YouTube channel. I'm curious, and I'm sure other people are curious, what led you to do that?
Well, as of course you know, you had asked me to do a conversation for your channel a few months back with another highly sensitive man.
So, if you're interested in watching that video with Nathaniel and his friend Michelle, it's called Why Sensitive Men Struggle with Friendship. You can find it here and what they actually need.
When I first brought the idea up with Michelle, he was very apprehensive, as I was a little bit at first, but he definitely was, and it took some convincing on my part to get him to do it. And I said, think about how many sensitive men this might be helping, and how you might have liked this when you were younger. And he gave it some thought, and a week later, he texted me, said he's in, he's excited about doing it, and so we recorded that, and it was, like I said, a lot of fun. And after doing that, I just had sort of this bug that I wanted to do more. Um, I had some other ideas, and the more I thought about it, more ideas kept coming and coming. And I just really wanted to do something for highly sensitive men. Um, I felt really compelled to help HSP men to understand themselves, and wish that I had something like that when I was younger. And I really wanted to build a support and community for HSMs like myself. So I decided to take the leap and make my own channel. And it was definitely scary at first, but once I got past the fear, I really started to enjoy it. And now, like I say, the ideas just keep coming and coming, and I'm really excited about doing it, and keep looking forward to the next talk. And I've been hearing a lot of positive support, so I'm really hopeful that it's helping other highly sensitive men, and will continue to do so.
Wonderful. And for those of you who are watching, I'm sure people would like the handle for your YouTube channel.
It's Sensitive Men Conversations.
I wanted to ask you, growing up, when did you first realize you were different from other boys, and how did you make sense of that at the time?
It's mostly in hindsight. I think the first memory I have of being highly sensitive was when I was probably 6 years old. I was at the Calgary Stampede, and there was a fireworks display at night. And I don't think I'd ever seen fireworks live before. I was with my family, and I just remember the noise was so loud and unbearable. And even, covering my ears and plugging my ears, I couldn't stand it. It's just too much. And my mom had to take me out, and, she was worried there's something wrong with me. But that was just the sensitivity to noise. Like I'd never experienced anything like that before. And also looking back in grade school, I remember all the boys would play football at recess, and I was never interested in that. I would much rather just sit with one friend on the grass or on a hill and talk, or just do our own thing. I was much more interested in that than being with the rowdy bunch of boys. But I always just thought that there was something wrong with me, being so different from everybody else and just not fitting in. So it was really tough. I didn't know what to make of it at the time. I certainly didn't know what a highly sensitive person was back then. It was foreign. I just thought I was different, and it was really really tough.
Yeah. Ah, I can relate to a lot of those things. When you said fireworks, I shuddered. Oof. So, also curious, and I'm sure people watching this are curious to know about what conversations about highly sensitive men do you think are still missing online?
There's so many. I just feel like there's such a dearth of this sort of thing out there. There's a lot of information about being a highly sensitive person or highly sensitive man, but it's more sort of research based and educational. And I just found that there was nothing really just talking about stories of what it's really like, what it feels like to be an HSM. My whole idea with the channel is I wanted to have these conversations that somebody watching would just be sort of like a fly on the wall, like overhearing a couple sensitive men talking and listening to that conversation, and then just have this, oh my god, me too. I've never seen or heard anybody talk about this kind of stuff before. So, to answer your question about what sort of conversations are missing, there's just so many examples, like, just learning how to fit in, but also being true to yourself. That's a really tough one, especially for younger men. Uh, Dealing with overwhelm. I mentioned the fireworks, but there's so many different aspects of being a highly sensitive person that are just tough. Everybody's got their different types of overwhelm, but it's a real challenge for a lot of people. For men in particular, how do we consume and play sports? That's really different. Varies a lot just throughout the HSP men community, but it's definitely different than other men in general. Another thing is the need for support and community, especially as we get older. Can be really tough finding friends and making friends, and it's certainly a challenge that we have to look into, or else there can be a huge loneliness component. It can be an epidemic, as Michelle and I discussed. Opening up to friends and family about being highly sensitive, but also protecting yourself at the same time. That's a big thing that needs to be talked about. And, those are just a few that, I picked off the top of my head, but there's so many more. Like I say, ideas just keep coming to me, either challenges I've had or seen other HSP men deal with that I really think deserve public conversation. And hoping to cover all of them in time on my channel.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm just thinking because I work a lot with highly sensitive men as well as a therapist, and those are all hot topics, hot button topics that you mentioned. Absolutely. Especially the thing about safety around who you tell that you're highly sensitive, especially around with other men who may not be sensitive. I've heard some sad stories about that, people being belittled and, called all kinds of names because of their sensitivity. I think there's a lot of bullying that goes on with boys and young men that is very problematic. And unfortunately, highly sensitive boys are at high risk for that, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. Every single highly sensitive man I've spoken to really struggled with that kind of stuff through childhood. I mean, name calling and bullying, and I had it bad, but I'm sure a lot of men had it worse when they were boys. It's really tough.
Yeah, we'd love to know what you think. So put your thoughts in the comments. How have you experienced being a highly sensitive man, highly sensitive boy, highly sensitive teen? Are you raising a highly sensitive son, or have you, had a young man in your life? How have you experienced that? Trying to guide other highly sensitive men and boys. Yeah, and I've also been impressed. I just have to tell everybody how impressed I've been with you and how just to watch your evolving, I mean, it's a transformation. From my end, it looks like a transformation because we're both introverted HSPs. So HSPs, 30% of HSPs are extroverts. So most of us are introverts. But I would say you're more introverted than I am. I
Definitely.
didn't think that was possible until I met you because everybody used to say, "What's wrong with you? Why don't you talk?" But I definitely am more extroverted than you. So to see you do this, not only have you started a YouTube channel, but you volunteer to manage a pod of highly sensitive men, which is an online highly sensitive men's group. Could you talk more about that, please, and let people know that that is something they could join?
It's actually a worldwide group.
It's the brainchild of William Allen, who I've had on the show. I've interviewed him twice. Check out one of his interviews here.
We also have more geographically based groups throughout the world, and I'm facilitating the one for the Pacific time zone. So, British Columbia, Washington State, Oregon, and California. We do them the first Tuesday evening of every month, and we have a different topic every time, and we talk for an hour. We often have to stop ourselves at an hour. We just want to keep going. The conversation just gets going so well. Really enjoying that, and I think all the guys are getting a great sense of community and support out of that. You think you're talking about something that nobody else has experienced, and you realize that there's all these guys that have had the exact same or very similar experience.
Through your YouTube channel, your online highly sensitive men's group, and other conversations you've had with sensitive men, have there been any themes or experiences that have stood out to you?
Yeah, unfortunately, many highly sensitive men only see the negatives of being an HSP. Um, I can get that because that's kind of how most of us start out. It's just all bad, and just seeing this as some horrible burden that we have to live through. But I call those challenges. Everybody's got their challenges, and HSPs, whether you're a man or otherwise, we have ours as well. But I really like to discover and focus on the positives, at least equally to the challenges. Um, I'm seeing a lot of men, highly sensitive men, that are struggling with depression. It might not be, full time clinical depression, but it's a theme. I think kind of goes with the first point. Just seeing all the challenges of being an HSM. If you're only dwelling on those, it can certainly lead to depression. I think a lot of us sort of go in and out of that state. From the men I've spoken to, most of them had a tough time growing up, especially with their fathers. The common theme was, being called "you're too sensitive" by the father, and it's interesting because some of these guys, their fathers even were highly sensitive men themselves, but back then that was completely unacceptable and just you know s- swept under the rug, or nobody even knew what it was. So the boys really took the brunt of uh, being called sissies or whatever, and not getting the approval of their father or parents in general. Um, Another thing I notice, I'm not sure again if this is just strictly with men or mostly with men, but perfectionism seems to be a big deal. Just being really hard on ourselves. That's a tough one. And one other theme I notice is difficulty making friends. We touched on this before, but especially when you get older, uh, if you start losing touch with your childhood friends, or uh, whatever it is, you just have a difficult time making friends, and it's really tough, especially to find ones that you can be vulnerable with. Which men, especially again as we get older, we really need that. I mean, a lot of us may have spouses that we share things with, but if you don't have a spouse or a partner, and even if you do, it's just really important and healthy to have other men that you can open up to and share things with, and feel that they're going to share things with you as well.
Yeah, those are very important themes, and I see that in my work. And also, women have a lot of them, but not to that extent, maybe. There's a lot of nuance, a lot of difference with men. You recently discovered that you identify as an INFJ. That's the Briggs-Myers test, if you're familiar with that. So, did that resonate with your experience, and why do you think people are often drawn to personality frameworks like that?
Yeah, definitely resonated. I mean, especially the introverted part.
Can you just say what the letters mean, what they stand for?
Introverted, intuitive, feeling, and judging. So yeah, the introverted part was really big for me, and uh, there's also an empathy piece. Being concerned with others' feelings and needs. That's a huge thing for me. It's really hard for me not to see somebody else suffering and notice or do something, or at the very least, uh, take that in.
Can I just interject and say that you have said to me several times over the course of 27 years that when I'm suffering, that you'd rather take on my suffering than watch me suffer.
Exactly. Yeah. Another thing about being an INFJ is the overwhelm, and we talked about that a little bit. That's a very common thing with HSPs, just feeling like there's too much, you can't handle it. Big thing for me was having creativity and an analytical side at the same time, and that really shows in my career choice.
Yeah, tell people more about that.
Yeah, I studied math at university, got a degree in something called actuarial science, which not a lot of people have heard of, but it's essentially the math used to predict and mitigate future risks. Very commonly used in insurance companies, but I worked in the pension consulting field for a few years. And as exciting as that sounds to most people, um, after a few years of that, I just realized that there was something big missing for me, and that piece I realized was the creative side. There was virtually none of that in that field and in that line of work. So I took a big leap of faith and switched over to multimedia studies, and that was the late '90s. So I've been doing different forms of multimedia, so a lot of web design and video and animation and graphic design, that sort of stuff ever since. And that's way more creative. And there still is the sort of analytical programming side of things to that. So every time I get to do a little bit of math, I get excited. Why do I think people, especially HSPs, are drawn to frameworks like that? I think it really helps both HSPs and INFJs to explain and normalize how they are. I think that's a big thing because, like I said, especially when you're younger and you're just thinking there's something wrong with you, to be able to sort of put yourself in a box and realize that there's a name for this, a label, uh, not a diagnosis, but it's just a personality type. Everybody's different, and just to know that it's one of many and it's acceptable. I think that really helps, especially with HSPs.
So I'm wondering, um, who is the highly sensitive man that you most hoped finds your channel sensitive men?
The first thing that comes to mind is young men, boys or uh, teenagers or men in their early 20s, um, mainly because they're the ones that are really struggling with peer pressure and feeling different and out of place and trying to be accepted. But there's a lot of you know middle-aged men as well that they're just discovering now. Like, they've kind of always thought there might have been something wrong with them, but never really explored it. And it's just kind of coming to the forefront, whether through work or relationship or whatever the circumstances are. So if it can help them, that's great as well. So men of all ages, I really hope that they'll all really enjoy it and get something out of it. And it's not just for those men, but anyone who knows a highly sensitive man. Whether they're in a relationship, a romantic relationship with them, or it's their child or their parent or brother or friend, just to understand that could help those people, and they might want to share it with their the highly sensitive men in their life.
So, what do you want a sensitive man to feel after watching one of your videos?
In one word, hope.
Mm.
Um, I really want men to watch these videos and come out with a feeling that there's nothing wrong with them, that they're not alone. There's others just like you out there, and that they're just different. Not right, not wrong. It's just different. Learning all this about yourself and other men just really makes life a lot easier once you start accepting that and learning how to live your life as an HSM.
If you could say one thing to a highly sensitive man who genuinely believes that something is wrong with him, what would it be?
Uh, so many other men, me included, have felt exactly the same. Um, there's really nothing wrong with you. You're just in a minority, and that makes you feel like you're standing out. But it's just, like we said, 15, 20%, whatever the number is. That seems small, but in a world of 8 billion people, that's 1.5, 2 billion people. That's a lot of people. So there's many of us out there. We're just quiet and maybe not seen. Um, so uh, I think what you need to learn, especially younger HSP men, is it is a challenge for sure, but there's just as many benefits, and you'll discover those over time and start to appreciate them.
What are some of those benefits? Let's go out on a positive.
Yeah. Um, I think for me and some other highly sensitive men or highly sensitive people in general that I've met, it's just the depth of experience things. It's I've spoken several times about music. For me, um, people might enjoy music at a certain level, but for me, it's if I'm still getting that in the screen,
Times
it's
a
that
100.
much higher. It's just like gets,
Yeah.
right into my bones, into my soul. It's just like this
Mhm.
physical feeling. It's amazing. And sometimes I feel almost sorry for people that can't experience music like that. But that's one example. Like I would say, food probably tastes better to us. I'll be out with my non HSP male friends, and for a meal at a restaurant, and I'll be like, "Oh my god, this is amazing. How's yours?" And their response is, "That's fine." It's just like it's
They
sustenance.
probably don't even notice what they're eating,
No,
maybe.
most of the time they don't, but for me, it's an experience, and I've seen I've heard other people comment on how they've never seen anybody enjoy their food like I do.
Yeah, it's true. Oh my god, you should see him eat. Yeah.
It's
He eats very slowly and it's very mindful, and, sometimes we have well, both of us, we love food, so we'll just say, "Don't talk," and we
Mhm.
just eat our food and enjoy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of life's great pleasures. Another sort of unselfish way of looking at it is just being able to be there, like really be there for people that you love. Like understanding them and what they're really going through, and being able to help. I mean, you're obviously in the one of the perfect careers for that sort of thing. But just for non-therapists like me, just being able to really listen to someone and know that you've helped them out. And it's funny. I mean, I remember in the past I'd listen to people and maybe offer them some advice or suggestions and not get any feedback, and didn't think that anything was really sinking in. And then a week or month later, they said, "Remember when you said this?" And I really took that to heart, and it's really helped. And it's amazing, like, people do really pay attention when you're truly listening to them and think about what they're going through and can offer solid, advice, and empathy, goes a long way. It's really helpful.
Those are very important skills that, unfortunately, if you look around in the world right now, I don't know if everyone's practicing them.
No. What are your, favorite positives of being an HSP?
Knowing that I really help people, the fact that I can listen and put myself in someone else's shoes and offer compassion and, just really being there with someone, um, and being in the sun and just I feel like God is kissing me when I'm in the sun. It's the most incredible sensation. So, last question for you. What have you learned about yourself through creating your YouTube channel, Sensitive Men?
I've learned that I love connecting with other sensitive men and building a community. I didn't really think about that much before, but now it's just become so apparent that it's me and pretty much all highly sensitive men need that. I've also learned that I have a lot to offer. Uh, I was just sort of playing a little bit small before, and like you say, I feel like being part of facilitating this group, and now the Sensitive Men channel. I feel like I'm just sort of blossoming and being true to myself. And as I mentioned, it was scary at first, but now I just feel like this is something I have to do. I'm compelled to do it. Got over my fear, and as the expression goes, my reason for doing it is outweighed the fear, and it's just become a passion for me.
I say that my and doing a YouTube channel myself because it scared the crap out of me too, is that my why outweighs my fear. And that HSPs, we need purpose and meaning. That's so central to who we are, that we can get over our own fear to do the thing that we feel is the right thing to do or that's going to help society evolve in some way.
One other thing I was thinking of that I've learned about myself since creating the Sensitive Men channel is that there's so many others like me out there, but we're all somewhat different. Not all HSPs, not all highly sensitive men are exactly the same. We have a lot in common. We have a lot to learn from each other, but we're still different and have our own little quirks and challenges and strengths. So it's amazing to meet all these different guys and to experience things with them.
I was just on someone else's podcast, April Snow, who's another HSP therapist in San Francisco. She's wonderful. She has a YouTube channel, Sensitive Strengths. And we were just talking about the diversity amongst HSPs. Like we come in a lot of flavors. It's amazing. I can't get over it. There's the HSS HSPs, which are the high sensation seeking um, HSPs. I did a video. You can watch it there on HSPs that are also high sensation seekers. 50% of us are high sensation seekers. We come from all cultures, all backgrounds, all countries, experiences. I mean, it's incredible. It's yeah, very fascinating people, aren't we?
Yeah, we certainly are. So if you know someone who's an HSP, don't just assume that they're like everyone else. And we're not all introverts. Most of us are, but there's so many nuances. It's an amazing little sort of subculture we have.
So to wind up, I do thank you for doing this conversation. I think it's going to help a lot of highly sensitive men and the people who love them. Um, yeah, and it's been an honor to be by your side as you have blossomed and grown. And the one thing in 27 years that I always felt before you did this was, oh, he could have such an impact on helping young men and boys who are like him. So it is happening, and it's a delight to witness.
Well,
And
I
I think
appreciate you saying that, and thank you for your support as I've gone through all the challenges and ups and downs, mostly ups, doing this.
Mhm. Yeah. So, what do you see? I'm curious about your YouTube channel. Do you foresee creating a community on there? Some kind of, yeah. What do you want to see in the future for your channel?
For the foreseeable future, I plan to do once a month conversations with another HSM with different topics that people can hopefully learn from and relate to. And I'll throw in some solo episodes, just me spouting my my wisdom or my thoughts and ideas and experiences and stories uh, once in a while with shorts thrown in as well. And we'll see how things grow. I'm hoping sort of a slow but steady growth of subscribers and people who just sort of join the YouTube community through comments and posts and stuff. Over time, if it gets big enough, who knows? Maybe we'll have some sort of online community where we can talk by Zoom or whatever it is once a month. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it to see how things go.
Yeah, so in case you haven't subscribed to Sensitive Men, please do. And yeah, and please like the videos. That helps us YouTube creators to uh, do more things and be seen by more people who need these messages.